Over 90% of us that have that disease process don't know it. That's the tragedy. Why do you not know it? There are no symptoms. People talk about losing weight or being thirsty. That does happen with some cases of advanced diabetes, but the vast majority of us have no symptoms. Another reason is our broken healthcare system. The typical visit, for the patient, you get up, you schedule your day off, you drive in, you wait in the waiting room to see the doc, you're in there with the doc for less than 7 minutes. And most of that 7-minute time, the doc's not listening to you anyway. That system's broken. And here's the third thing. Evidence from Hopkins, plenty of other places, is really clear. Most doctors don't know how to diagnose this problem because they don't know how to manage the problem either. So we've got to change stuff about how we manage this problem. And that's why this channel's getting more and more subscribers. That's what we do for a living. James, any more comments about that?
Just what do you typically recommend? Which I say to Martin, you've got lots of videos you can watch from Ford on this topic. And we're going to do one coming up soon about my own journey and experience in this, but go ahead.
So I've got tons and tons of full-blown diabetics in my practice. It's rare. Most of them do not get significant blood sugars. They don't go over 200. They don't routinely go over 130 for fasting. Some get closer to that. Some have that dawn effect, but dawn effect and a blood sugar of 130 by itself is really not going to cause that much damage. It's these postprandial numbers getting above 140, 150, 180 and staying there hour after hour after hour. That's what causes cardiovascular inflammation. That's what causes risk for heart attack, stroke, dementia. So I'm not too worried about the fasting blood sugar usually. In fact, I'm mostly just trying to talk people out of being concerned over it. Regarding the post-meal problems, the 160, 180, very few of my full-blown diabetics ever have that problem. And here's why. It's a very simple concept. Carbs make that happen. If you don't eat carbs, your blood sugar is not going to go up. And so you cut the carbs in your diet, your blood sugars are going to drop. Very simple, very easy. Well, it's easy to wrap your head around. It's not quite so easy to go low carb. It's easier than most people think. Wrapping your head around is a problem though. It's taken until this past year for the American Diabetes Association to start talking about a low carb diet.
But proactively, you would say finding food, you talk about your own experience, was increasing salmon. You ate a lot more salmon, fish, walnuts, avocados, boiled eggs. So there are some very specific higher fat but healthy fat content type food that you substitute. And I took out all sugary drinks, gave up all soda pops, milkshakes, milk itself, and went to water and unsweetened tea, took out dessert, and took out snacking. I tried everything, including that, you need a bunch of meals during the day. And I found that's just the opposite. I took on fasting. So I'm a 16-hour is my regular fast. But, I do about once a week a 24-hour fast. And those are the proactive, just simple things you can do. It's hard at first, but then, my 24-hour fast, and do them without even thinking about it. To remind myself that I'm hungry. So once you get into that process, I think what you did was start eating a lot more walnuts, almonds, avocados, fish, eggs, and cut out all the bad stuff, potatoes, processed food, fast food. It worked so well, it's just incredible, the change.
Speaking of that point, I did start eating a lot more nuts, and some nuts have carbs, but I mentioned that one of my family members developed a tree nut allergy. That happened at the time that I was transitioning over to low carb. I had just developed a huge love of macadamia nuts. Oh, gosh, love them and miss them, but we're not going to have them around the house anymore. So I'd like to talk with you a minute about the webinar. People don't understand what the webinar is. It's actually a great way to get some access to healthcare that you're just not going to get any other way. You actually get the lab tests yourself at a local lab, a Quest lab near you, for the inflammation panel and the OGTT and the insulin survey. These are things, inflammation and prediabetes, that your doctor just does not know about. And here's the thing. Harvard Health and many others have said, look, sudden death is not always so sudden. The Hollywood picture that it's a bolt out of the blue is not realistic. It's more like real lightning, preceded by clouds, wind, and rain. Stop that metabolic storm before the lightning strikes. And here's where that metabolic storm comes from. It's inflammation, and it has to do usually with prediabetes. So again, we actually get labs, we go over them in the webinar, and then you can start finding out how you can prevent that heart attack others said that you couldn't even predict. We can show you how. Thanks.